All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Hopefully you are all having a wonderful time. Gonna get this thing started. It's right around 8:30. We're gonna get some jobs report number come out very shortly. And yeah, let me go ahead and post tweets out so we can get everybody rolling in here. Perfect. That is that. That is that. All right. Perfect. Edgar, good morning. Brian Whitman, good morning. Little Johnny, good morning. Buenos dias. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you, sir. Kadar, good morning. Access to money. Daniel Gonzalez, what's going on, my man? Good morning, good morning. All right. Should have the jobs report number out here shortly. We'll take a look at what those are. And I believe we have PCE numbers as well. Let's take a look here. Let's see what we got out. Eric, my man, what's going on? Good morning, good morning. All right, guys, just trying to take a look at the jobs report number. Core PCE came out. Personal spendings. All right, initial jobless claims came in at 231. And the forecast was 228. So a little bit higher there. All right, so we'll take a look and see how the market's liking this. They're liking the PCE number here right now. Nice little initial pop on the SPY and the Qs and a lot of the tech names here. So we'll see how that pans out. But in the meantime, we're going to wait till 8:35. Let everybody kind of tune in here. Let me get into the chat and said my good mornings. Real, good morning from LA. What's going on? Marjan, good morning. Skyzen, good morning, my man. Alan, good morning. Matish, good morning. Oscar, what's going on, man? Good morning. Alan, to your Discord, bro, I lost money. Wanted to sign in, but damn, lost almost everything. That sucks, man. You gotta have risk management. I preach about risk management all the time. Without risk management, you're just a gambler. So, get that risk management down pat. Otherwise, you're just gonna keep blowing your money. All right, so it is 8:32. We usually wait till about 8:35 a.m. Then we'll get things kind of popping here. Angel Stu, what's going on? Good morning, good morning. At 8:35, we'll get started. We'll talk about the SPY and the Qs. We'll talk about the market sentiment. We'll talk about some of the levels. Then we'll jump into some of the free alerts, and then from there we'll go into some stocks you guys want me to look at, whether that's a day trade, swing trade. I would appreciate it if you guys can tell me if you're looking to day trade it or swing trade it, and if you're looking for calls or puts. That way I can kind of help answer your question a little bit better. Now, with that said, there is about 40 of you here tuned in. Go ahead and smash that like button. I would greatly appreciate it. All you got to do is press like. Let's get those likes up to about 40. Everyone on here, just smash that like button. We'll get it going here. Mr. Snowboarder, good morning. Len, good morning from England. Steve, good morning. Don, what's going on, man? Good morning. Peter, good morning. All right, 8:33 a.m. here. We got about 2 more minutes, and then we'll get started. 8:35. We'll hit the ground running here, and it's gonna be an exciting day. Nice little gap down in the market. Not something that I usually enjoy, but I mean, we take it for what it is and we trade the levels, and that's all really there is to it. No emotions, no nothing. For those of you wondering, PCE index came in at 0.3 and 4.7 on the year. All right, 8:34. We got about 30 seconds here. Vic, good morning. Gabrielle, good morning. Rayhan, good morning. All right, guys. All right. Got about 30 seconds and we'll get this thing started here. Remember, guys, at the end when we go through some of the tickers you guys want me to take a look at, please remember, tell me if you want to day trade it, swing trade it, calls or puts. That way I have a better idea of what you're expecting and how I can kind of answer your question. All right, so it is 8:35 a.m. With that said, we're gonna jump right into it. All right, so SPY overall on the daily, guys, you know, we talked about that doji, which pushed us into this 20 moving average, which filled this little gap fill to the top side, and we started seeing selling pressure. All right, you know, on Monday, I was noticing this weakness come in early morning. The pop wasn't getting buyers, and these are the little things you have to pay attention to. This is why I say watching price action. It's so important. You can't really just walk in and, you know, just trade. You have to understand price action. You have to understand levels, volume, and see what's going on. So after a move from 362 all the way up to this 20 moving average, this move was a little extended. I mentioned that in the newsletter on Sunday that I send out, and you know, we saw that weakness. We pulled back down, and here we are now sitting at 376, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, 376. Okay, so a simple flag dropped, hit a doji, back up, hit the 20 moving average, and when we're under all the moving averages start acting as resistance. Now let's take a look at the closer time frame and take a look at what we're dealing with here. Okay, so you're going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to put all my levels up, and that level that we're keeping an eye on is the 376. All right, this is the level I'm keeping an eye on, and that's going to be my pivot today. Okay, why is that? It's a pretty important level. We've respected it a few times, and if we can hold out of the open, out of the gates above this 376 level, then great. We can look to try to backtrack to this 378, which was an area of resistance yesterday. Well, support yesterday, which is now resistance, right? Old support becomes new resistance. So this is going to be the other level I'm paying attention to. If and only if we clear this 378.85, then obviously your next area is where? Right here. Why? Because we've seen multiple rejections of this level, right? That's the level we're going to pay attention to. So maintain 376.08. This is going to be your first target. And if we consolidate under here and then break back out, then we're looking at 381, and then ultimately, if we continue to see that strength, we could see a move to 385. But baby steps here, 376 being the first move, 378, 381. Okay. Now, if we decide to roll over, you know, if we open up and just plummet right back down, fail to maintain above 376, well, the level that you're going to have to watch to the downside will be one, your pre-market level. You can see it is being supported pretty good right here, right? You have this support right here at around this, what's this, 374.68 level. However, you lose that, you're coming down to 372, and then ultimately the 368.92. Okay. Now, if we continue to see weakness, if we start seeing aggressive sell volume come in, and we start just coming down pretty aggressively, you need to understand that if we go back to the daily chart here on the SPY, this 362 is that pivot low. All right, it's a little bit of a stretch from where we are to hit that 362, but you know, you can't just eliminate things because you think it's overextended or you think it's not going to hit there, right? Just understand your levels. Here they are. You guys can take a screenshot of them if you need. You know, I do recommend you guys take screenshots of these, note them down. They're levels that have worked. They always continue to work, and they never really disappoint me. So again, with the SPY, 376 is going to be pivotal. Maintain above this in the first 10-15 minutes. We could look to push to 378, 381. Get that weakness early on, then 372, 368, and 364.90 definitely possible on the downside. Brassy Betty, good morning to magical levels. Man, you sure your levels are to the penny. Morning from China. Ricardo, good morning. Simon, good morning. Little Johnny, Tesla puts day trade. Yusuf, good morning. All right, so that is in regards to the SPY. Okay, now let's take a look at the Qs. All right, what do we have here? So similar look, right? We sold off. We hit that 267 support, popped back into the moving average. We almost even filled this upper gap, right? Again, the moving average rejected. We're getting some selling pressure. We even have a very massive downtrend line here that we keep hitting and rejecting. All right. So with that said, let's take a look at the 15-minute time frame. What are we paying attention to today on this one? Okay. So the level we're paying attention to, we put up all the levels. Bam. There you go. It's going to be this 280.36. Okay. So this 280.36 is going to be our equivalent to the 376 on the SPY. Right, that's the level I'm paying attention to, and we need to maintain above this 280.36 if we are going to continue higher. All right, if we push out of the gates, maintain above 280.36, then the first target is going to be right here at 282. Right, we can see we have some sort of support right here on it yesterday, which could act as resistance today, and above that, obviously, these areas of resistance are going to continue to be a factor in today's price action if we push up to 284.98. All right. Now, if and only if we clear this, we could see a possible move back up to this 289.23 level. You can see nice sell-off, which could put us in a little bit of a situation where we have an intraday pocket from this level to here that we can kind of get into and take advantage of. All right. So again, 280.36 is that level. Reject that level and come down. You know, if we get selling pressure out of the gates and we don't really look back, then you're looking to fall to the 276.41, 273.36, and ultimately that 269.34. All right, so here's your levels again. If you guys need, go ahead and take a screenshot of this. For those of you that are still here, there's about 69 of you here. Go ahead and smash that like button. We only have half of you who pressed like. Just go ahead and smash that like button. It's 8:30 in the morning. Love to see those likes go up. Gives me some motivation here. So yeah, these are the levels we're keeping an eye on today, guys. All right. Again, like I've always said, really understand where we are as a market. You don't want to just trade blindly. Yes, you know, you need to have your levels. Yes, you need to understand where we are as a whole. But you also need to understand, you know, where we were and where we've come to, right? I've made a video about this on individual stocks, but the same rule applies when you're looking at the market overall. So when we hit this doji at 362 and we pushed all the way to 390, it's very unrealistic for you to expect another push back up to 405, another push back up to 415 without some sort of a pullback, right? This 20 moving average was the first sign that we might see some selling pressure. If you didn't notice it on this candle here, you should have noticed it on this big sell-off candle. Yesterday was pretty much a rest day, and we've kind of gapped down today. So we'll see if those levels hold up, and we can trade those levels whether to the upside or the downside. We have a game plan both ways, either way. But you know, overall, understand where we were, where we are, and where those rejection levels are. Okay. Now, with that said, I'm going to jump into the free alerts. All right. So, first free alert that I want to take a look at is NVIDIA. All right. Unfortunately, this triggered already. But NVIDIA, I was keeping an eye at this 151 level. Why? Because we have support right here. We have support in the pre-market here at this 151. If we lose that 151, we should see a nice pull back down to the 147. So that's going to be the trigger area on this one, around the 151 on NVIDIA. Okay. The upside trigger was 153. All right, because of this volatility in the pre-market, we've kind of penetrated this. So what do we do at this point? Just because we're above this in the pre-market doesn't mean wherever price opens you buy calls. You have to wait for price to consolidate, see if we stay above this 153 in the first 5, 10, 15 minutes. If we do, then you can look for some sort of a flag pattern. Let's say, it opens here, starts consolidating, puts it into a little bit of a pennant. Then you can take that pennant trade to the upside, okay? Don't just chase it blindly because, you missed the trigger in the pre-market. Whatever happened in the pre-market is the pre-market. We need to see what's going to happen out of the open here, okay? Now, if this rolls back down and hits that 151 level, great. I would be looking to take advantage of this to the downside towards this 147.25, okay? Next one on the list is Qcon. So this one, I really like this support that it's kind of put in here. It was kind of respected here, respected here, respected here. Try to again respect it right there. This 126.50 level is a level that I want to keep an eye on. Okay, we are pushing up a little bit. It does have some positive news. Yes, I guess Monday with Apple strictly using Qcon chips for their processors or whatnot. But I'm keeping an eye on this 126.50. All right. Everybody came in. There was a lot of volumes, a lot of calls that got bought here. If we lose this 126.50, we might get a little bit of an accelerated sell-off back down to this 123.70 area. It's kind of what I'm paying attention to. So 126.50 is the level to buy puts at if we break it. And if we start pushing up higher here, you need to get back above. The trigger was 128.50, but again, because of the little pop we had here, we've pushed above it. So keep an eye on this 130.60 level now, right? That's going to be our resistance. If we cross above this, we could try to push back into that 135, right? So a few levels to pay attention to. 126.50, 130.60 level is something that you can pay attention to the upside. Rivian. This one was looking prime in the pre-market, and this little pop here kind of ruined it. Either way, sometimes these pops, they don't really last long. We'll see how the market kind of pans out. But under that 25.50 is what I'm looking for. Sorry, 25.40 is what I'm looking for to the downside to take advantage of a pretty big chunk move. There's really not much support on this one. But if we can get under that 25.40, I have some support at 24.75 right here. Sorry, 24.75, and then the next support I have is at 23.10. These come from the daily levels you're gonna have to pay attention to. So I'll keep an eye on this 25.40 level if it decides to roll back over and fall down. All right. Obviously for calls you got to get back above 26 now, and if that's the case, we could see a nice squeeze back to 27.30. Again, it all depends where we open on the Qs and the SPY, and if we're going to hold above those key levels. All right. So with that said, I'm going to jump into the chat here and see what you guys want me to take a look at. Let me know if you guys are looking to day trade something, swing trade something, what your idea is behind it. And if you're looking for calls or puts. All right. Good morning. Tesla puts for a day trade. Let's take a look at Tesla. Tesla puts for a day trade. So the only time I would get involved on Tesla puts is if we break this 667 level. All right. Pretty vital area. You can see it was defended very well yesterday. It's defended very well here in the pre-market. For puts, you really need to get under 667. All right, 667.19 is going to be your level to get under. If we get under that, you could see that push to the 650 whole number and then 635 to the downside. All right, that's kind of what I would pay attention to. If you're looking to trade puts on Tesla, you have to wait for that confirmation under 667. All right, so if the market doesn't hold this little pop that it has in the pre-market, rolls back over, a lot of these downside triggers will activate. A lot of names are sitting at support, so we might get that selling pressure across the board to kind of come in and take advantage of that. Coin puts for day trade. Take take a look at coin puts. So coin obviously gapping down here simply because Bitcoin dropped a little bit. Key level 49.19 was the level to keep an eye on. We saw some weakness on that yesterday. 46, we have some support on the daily, and then next support down is 40.80. So let's take a look at where we are. 49.19, we broke under that. So with this one again, you know, that I would have liked this to open up around 49.19 so we can take advantage of the big yank down. This gap down kind of kills this play. You have to wait for this 46 level to break. If that 46 level breaks, you could take advantage of the move down. All right. Another way you could trade this is if you take this 46.80, right? You could take that trigger, but you're gonna have to be really quick because this $1 move might not be enough to get you filled. Okay. The safer play would be to wait for the 45.90 to break with an increasing volume. Once that breaks, you have that confirmation. The daily opens up because there's not much support here until that 41.40.78. Right, that's what I would pay attention to for coin. Next one, we got NEO. NEO for call. All right, so the NEO daily chart, very interesting chart. You know, it popped up to this area of 23.81. We kind of walked this thing up here, rejected, pulling back into the 20 moving average. I think a little bit of a, you know, it's got strength. It's been gaining a lot of strength. Chinese EV names have done very well in the last few weeks, and this one really, you know, although I hate day trading NEO, for calls you need to at least open up above 21.75. There's too much congestion here. There's too much resistance in your way. You have resistance at 21.90. You have resistance at 22.27. Just not a clean chart. Not something I really want to get involved in. You really have to look for some sort of intraday pattern, and even then, because of all these resistance points, it's not going to be a clean, fluid move to the upside. All right. Again, for calls, maybe 21.75. You have a little bit of a double bottom being put in the pre-market. Your neckline's at 21.60. You need that confirmation push, 21.75. But then you have resistance at 21.90, and then you have resistance at 22.25. Just not something I'm interested in buying calls at the moment on NEO. Coin puts for day trade. I think we talked about this. Can you look at Roblox for puts, please? Let's take a look at Roblox. All right, let's take a look at the daily chart. I don't know why there's two. All right, so Roblox, let's take a look at the 15-minute. So right there, 32.80 is that level to pay attention to. All right, we have resistance from yesterday right here. Right, you can see that right here. We have lots of resistance points. Bang, 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 bang. Got smacked. Right, where did we pop to? We popped right to that level, 33.44. Old support is new resistance when price gets under. Right, so I like how it's resisting here. What I would really want is, let's say this kind of pushes down and starts putting up this little rising wedge. We can take a rising wedge. Our stops can be this 33.60 area and take advantage of this move back down. Okay. Now, if this doesn't put in a rising wedge, another way that you can kind of try to trade this is if we start kind of selling off, put it in an H. You can take that trigger right at 32.80 and continue to the downside. Another way would be to have a sell-off, have a flag right here, right? And then take that trigger down to the downside. Or ideally, this can just plummet right through, pop back up and retest, and you can take the bear flag under that for continuation to the downside. Right? So I guess what I'm saying is 32.80 is that level you got to pay attention to, and keep your level of 33.40 as well to see if we're going to kind of put in a pattern against that and roll over. All right. For the clearer move, you need to wait for that 32.80 to snap, because if it does, you open up a little bit for more further downside direction. Real Nvidia puts at 153 break or wait for 151 break. Nvidia 153. I'm not following what you're asking. So the trigger is 151 for the downside move. So you have to wait for the 151 break to trade the puts to the downside. Do you trade only on 15-minute time frame? No, I don't use the 15-minute time frame to trade. I use the 2-minute, the 5-minute, and sometimes the 10-minute. I'm only using the 15-minute time frame to give you guys a clearer image of old support, old resistance that you guys can take a look at. AMC puts swing trade. Good luck. Let me know how that goes. I don't talk about these fucking meme names like AMC and GME. I actually don't give a rat's ass about those two stocks, and I don't look at them ever. All right, now I forgot to talk about when to take those triggers, so let me do that while I still have a few more minutes here. Remember, guys, so how do you take these triggers? How do you take these free alerts? There's a few ways. If we open up and we're coming down to trigger right at that 151 level in the first 5-10 minutes, I take the trigger right here as it presents itself, right? Why? Because we have lots of volatility in the first 5-10 minutes, and I take that trigger right as it comes, so I can take advantage of this big chunky move to the downside as premiums inflate when people try to market order on top of each other. I try to take advantage of that. All right, if time has passed by, right, if we have an hour and a half that's passed by, let's say Nvidia has kind of gone up and down here, hasn't really chosen a direction, it's been an hour, and then finally after an hour and a half, 2 hours, it breaks, or it's coming to break this level. You no longer can take that break before it happens. You have to wait for a breakdown. You have to wait for increasing volume for confirmation, right? Obviously above average volume. And then once you get that, you can wait for the retest, take the trigger right there at the retest, and continue to the downside. All right, that's how I would take it. If an hour or so has passed, if it's within the first 5-10 minutes, you will take the trigger right out of the open. Again, remember, taking the trades right out of the 5-10 minutes window. It's a little bit riskier, so you're gonna have to be careful with your risk to reward, as things can kind of fluctuate really quickly if you don't have a good mental stop on your trades. Let's take a look at Dkng. Dkng puts 15-minute. So Dkng, very similar chart to everything that's kind of going on, right? Gap down, putting in a support at 12, popping back up to old resistance, testing that area. For confirmation on the put side, you have to break that 1208 area, and then you have, if you break 1208, you're going to come down to 12 whole number. That might see some support there, but under that, your next big support's at 1175. Okay, so you can either wait for the 12 break, or you can take the 1208. Not much volume in it here. I'm not sure what the OI is on these DKNGs. The calls, oh yeah, it's got pretty good open interest, so you might be able to get in with some pretty cheap contracts here. They're fairly cheap on DKNG. All right, so wait for that 1208. Possibly 12 trigger, and then you can take advantage of the next move here towards that 1175. All right, so for those of you that are still here, go ahead and smash that like button. I would greatly appreciate it. Remember, it's just simply all about levels. Don't try to talk yourself into things. Don't read into things too much. Even analysts and hedge funds that are coming out with their opinions, it's probably likely they're trying to get themselves out of a position. They're trying to bring liquidity in. So just stay on your levels, understand where we are as an overall market, and just trade that, right? So now here we are back below that 376, putting in a double top on the Qs in the pre-market. And, we're still seeing some weakness here. That pop got faded fairly quickly. So we'll have to see how that level kind of opens up at the market open, all right? So again, go ahead and smash that like button. Remember, every Thursday we do go live right here on YouTube at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, so we can come in here, go over market sentiment, free alerts. You guys get to ask me questions, and I try to help you guys out as much as I can. All right, guys, so with that said, I gotta jump back into the Discord, get ready for the trading day. Hopefully you guys all stay safe, respect your money, don't trade unless you have some sort of a pattern or a system That way you can get in based on the pattern and get out based on the pattern again. So you have a confident and strong stop that you can take advantage of. All right. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys all next week right here